this area.
That's very important with regards to seeing the process through. In fact, we've been the only party consistently fighting off the DRTP and also twinning the Ambassador Bridge, which also has its tentacles with regards to fundraising and also being part of other political parties over the years. We've been clear in the public actual crossing being important not only just for our future, but also including it with regards to community benefits for Sandwich Town. And I can tell you as well too, with regards to the trade issues that we have right now, there is no trade agreement with the United States because we did not listen when I was there with all parties to what we were being told by Congress, is that we had to include the environment, we actually had to include labor laws, we had to include issues like pharmacare to be part of the solutions. That's why we don't have an agreement right now. My leader's name is Jagmeet Singh, and I can tell you this much, he's very for progressive trade agreements, but we have to have them in place. And so the Gordie Howe Bridge can facilitate that, but only with strategy. So we need a national auto strategy, we need aerospace strategy. Other countries are doing it, we should be doing it as well. We need to go on the offense. Defense doesn't win us jobs.
Thank you. Henry Lau.
Gordie Howe is so important to our region. It brings the trades right across the states in our country. It is so important we have our local MP at the table of the government to bring our local issue. For the investment, the federal investment for the Gordie Howe, the NDP vote against the federal investment. A lot of people don't know about it. It is unacceptable that our local MP vote against it and along with their party. For our local MP, our local issue is number one issue. We have to bring our local issue right at the table and bring our voice and get the result we all deserve.
Thank you. Sandra Pupatella.
Thanks, Henry. I'm agreeing with you on this. Our local MPs have voted against every bridge initiative in Parliament so far. You can't think that we won't know what the voting record is. When it's vital to our corridor here, I'm going to stand on my record. We were the government that brought in community benefits so that local companies benefited from the build on the Herb Parkway. We were the ones that worked with the feds to get it into their language, but your local NDP MP want to take credit for what every other government has delivered for this area. I'm going to stand on my record, and it's there for everyone to see. We brought $3.5 billion into the Windsor West area alone in my years of government, and it shows you what you can do when you have a voice at the table.
Thank you, Giovanni Abadi. Sorry.
I didn't know my name changed.
You look so alike.
Yeah.
Quinn
Is my
Hunt.
twin actually?
Quinn Hunt.
So some representatives up here would like to stand on their records. And I think that we actually need to look at their records. Some people have been serving us faithfully in government for 17 years, and I would applaud them for that. Some people served for a little while in Ontario legislature, and then thought they would lose, went private, moved to Toronto, and then came back when they thought they could win. Now, let's move on to the actual question of the bridge. So,
Excuse me, everybody. Thank you.
So I was actually contacted by a community group who asked me if I supported a legacy fund with Gordie Howe Bridge. And I believe that a legacy fund is one way to ensure that every infrastructure project undertaken in Canada and in Windsor allows the communities that it affects to actually benefit from them for the life of that infrastructure project. It's not that we have trade crossing through Windsor and earning money on both sides of the border. We actually need to make sure the communities benefit.
Thank you, Quinn Hunt. This next question begins with Henry Lau. How hurtful are political scandals to citizens' faith in government, and how would you handle one that erupted during your time in office?
I never think about it because scandal is not going to be happen to me. I'm a person with honest integrity, and I put my name at first to serve my people. I don't have to be in poverty. I retired 13 years ago. I put my name into the parliament to running the office, and I want to serving Windsor with my best interest. If anything happens bad on me, I quit. So it is my personal mandate to serving my people with all my heart. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandra Pupatella.
Thanks. The good news is when you have an MP that was your MPP, you already know everything about her because it's already out there in the public. So let me say this. I think it's important that you know who it is you're sending to Ottawa and that you know you can believe what she says. That in all of my years in political office, I have not made a promise that I haven't kept, and I've not delivered when I said that I would. I think that it's really important that we remember what we can get here in this area when we have access. When we had a doctor shortage, we delivered a med school. When we needed more engineers with more research capability, we built a new engineering school. These were dramatic changes for our region. I'm going to stand on that history, and you're going to judge me on that. Transparency, I have always been accessible to the people of Windsor West, come hell or high water. And as for the rest, I can tell you, I'm anxious to get back to the days when Windsor West had a voice.
Thank you. Quinn Hunt?
So let's talk about transparency for a second. I'm the only candidate up here who has accepted that in my high school days, I made offensive jokes, racist, sexist, homophobic remarks in private to friends. I came out over a year ago, before I was related to any political party, before I was in the public life at all, when I was still a private citizen, and said, I take responsibility for those remarks. I would like to move forward from that point, atone. This is part of that atonement process. I am trying to make Canada a better place for every single person. That means economic justice, social justice, and environmental justice. We need to really trust the people that we are putting in government. Now, none of you know me because I am new to this public stage. What I can tell you is I will be up here, regardless of the results of the October 21st, for the foreseeable future. I plan to make Windsor, Essex County, and all of Canada a better place.
Thank you. Brian Massey?
Well, there's no doubt the Prime Minister started his, basically his tenure by being in a scandal over a vacation. He repeated it with another vacation where he had another problem. But the most disturbing one is the SNC-Lavalin. Judy Wilson-Raybould, who was at the cabinet table, who actually made her case, was not only disciplined, she was disregarded and pushed out of the Liberal Party for speaking her voice. That's no way to treat somebody. It's no way to treat our system, which actually involved a legal system and the independence of our judiciary system, which was so core to so many issues that we have to have dealt with. And if you don't have somebody so strong like that, that isn't welcomed in that party, then it tells you what's really happening there. And I can tell you as well, I know that some of the Dalton McGuinty Liberals wanted to go and take Ottawa. It hasn't gone as well as they planned it. And as well, too, is that those that say you're wasted vote, I can't tell you how many veterans events I've been at. Just go to those events and ask them about what they think about that they wasted their vote on me or somebody else that didn't get elected. They disregard that argument, they're insulted by it, and it's more importantly at the core of who they think should be the freedom of democracy to choose.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Please hold your applause. This next question begins with Sandra Pupatella. What would you do for Indigenous rights and minority rights?
Thanks for that, and I appreciate this question. I spent 4 years being the actual head of the Director for Women's Issues in Ontario. And at that time I learned a lot, because it wasn't just about minority groups, but it was about gender as well. And the things that we could do based on good research, develop the kinds of programs that makes a difference for people. So the other day we were in our campaign office and we started the day with a ceremony from one of our Indigenous volunteers to talk to us and teach us about what we have right here in our own backyard that many of us don't know about. And I think it's important that we learn that. Just like, je pense que c'est très important que le député qui était ici pour 17 années pour parler jamais un mot en français. And I think it's important that we showcase who we have in our own community, that we have francophones, a francophone education system here, that we are bringing more minorities in all the time and we want to integrate them well. Kathy Thomas is here from the Multicultural Council. She knows transit is an issue for our new immigrants to get to jobs that they so desperately want.
Thank you so much. Quinn Hunt.
Justin Trudeau and the Liberals ran on reconciliation in 2015. They have not achieved that. What we plan to do is implement all of the recommendations that the Truth and Reconciliation Commission give, a commission run by First Nations people who understand the issues that they face and know how to solve them. We also plan to implement every recommendation of the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. While Mr. Trudeau has been shoving pipelines through First Nations territories who have refused that pipeline and who were told that that refusal would be a veto, we plan to actually respect the territories, the heritage, and the opinions of all First Nations people, because we are a country built on colonialism. We are a country that is made up of people who came here and imposed their will on the traditional inhabitants. We need to actually act on it, not just pay lip service to them.
Thank you. Brian Massey?
Reconciliation is more than just words, it's actually actions. And Romeo Saganash, who was actually in our caucus and was part of actually creating the Human Rights Declaration, was very much an integral part of actually trying to get this passed in Canada, but we still have yet to have that. All we have is an empty liberal promise at the end of the day. And the pipeline is a good example as well too, is where it actually becomes important to policies that we still see the inherent problems and the disregard that takes place because we still don't have consultation. Yesterday I had the opportunity to walk on our waterfront with people that are affected with regards to the schools and the residential treatment that they faced. And still to this day, they are hurting. They need supports. But what it means is specific strategies and legislation that's applied. Not words, not apologies, but actual tools to make sure that A, they're going to get out of poverty. Second to that, women that continue to receive the most violence more than men out there are getting the supports that are necessary. And also when you look at our employment-based numbers, we still have women that are underrepresented in terms of CEO positions and management positions needs to change. Those are real things.
Henry Lam?
As your MP, I will work with the community and listen to their voice, listen to their concern, and what we can do about it, what we can have a solution for them. We can talk all day long, but when we have to find out the root problem, where we can able to reconcile with the people and working together to make the community as together. The generation has to be continued to make them educated and have a job. Make family affordable. This is what we can able to do as a member of parliament for this Windsor West.
Thank you very much. The last question starts with Quinn Hunt. How can we reduce crime and homelessness in the region, including downtown Windsor?
First, I'd like to take objection to the fact that crime and homelessness are tied together in this question. Yes, they are related, but they are not necessarily the cause of one another. What we really need to deal with is homelessness. We are actually we have one of the lowest crime rates in all of Canada, okay? So every person has a safe, secure place to live. The way we can do that is by building 250,000 purpose-built affordable housing units across Canada in the next 10 years, renovating 100,000 affordable housing units across Canada, as well as implementing a guaranteed livable income, making sure that every single Canadian, regardless of income, is able to afford a safe place to live, food for themselves and their children, and heating and cooling in the winters and summers. We need to really, really look at ourselves and think, is this a country that really cares about everybody? It does not seem that way. I cleaned up the ditch on University.
Thank you so much. Brian Massey?
I agree that crime and homelessness should be put together in one topic. On crime, there's a couple pieces I'll touch on. First and foremost is we've seen actually a rise in hate crimes. And that's one of the things I think we need to really address sooner rather than later. We actually have put towards a plan for a hate crime strategy across our country. It is on the rise and it's something to be concerned about because it affects not only just our families but also our neighborhoods, our communities, and how we're viewed across the world. And right now, even if say for gun violence crimes and gang crimes, the Liberals said that they put $100 million aside for that. They haven't done any of that. And that's a real problem. We'd also want to work towards actually the homelessness issue by actually affordable housing. So it's not just homeless, it's affordable housing. There's many people right now that are house poor. We have to make life more affordable. So we actually have an incentive program for renters for up to $5,000 for them. And as well too, we'd waive the HST and the GST off of new home builds to ensure that there's going to be affordable housing units built. 500,000 units have to be built across this country. That will also take the pressure off of the housing market that we have and also end the speculation tax.
Thank you very much. Henry Lam.
We already know the problem in downtown. We already know the homelessness. It is a big issue for our region, especially for Windsor downtown. We know the problem. We have to focus on our root problem and find a solution. As a member of parliament, I will introduce a private bill for safe home for homelessness. We will train our young people, the people who without home, and find them a job so that they can support themselves. We have to find a solution to end the problem once for all. It is not acceptable the way it is and let it go. And as a border town and as the gateway of Canada, we deserve more funding for our federal government to get the problem solved. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandra Pupatello.
Thanks. I hope that people who are truly interested in this issue will go to sandrapupatello.com. Our platform is identified there, including additional investments to come in mental health, in items to fight the opioid crisis, and we know that's heavy in this area. We know that that's actually probably an epidemic as large as AIDS ever was, and then we can see it here in Windsor streets. Our downtown core does need help. Everyone is talking about it. I hear it at the doors in South Windsor, like I do on the West End, about downtown. And I think that's going to be a collective effort. And it's why I have to go back to needing a leader who has access, that can find the things that we need. When I tell you that we had a doctor shortage and we got a med school, that med school wasn't in a little platform. It's having the capacity to find the solutions for the community, including things as serious as homelessness and drug addiction.
Thank you very much. And we start our closing statements with Brian Massey.
Well, thank you for having me today. I want to thank and reiterating that I appreciate the opportunity for the Chamber to do this and their partnership over the past 17 years. I've worked across party lines for solutions to our challenges. I view that as a strength, not a weakness. I brought Windsor's voice to Ottawa, and I don't make excuses for Ottawa or Toronto in Windsor. I'm not afraid of hard work, and I don't quit. Over the last 17 years as an MP in our region, I've seen incredible federal investment. We've secured large infrastructure projects. We've worked on the auto industry. We've also worked on consumer issues that are very important for not only just this area, but also our country. The International Bridge and Tunnel Act, for example, was one that brought the actual Ambassador Bridge under inspection and enforcement, the first time done in history of Canada. All I've done in all of this in opposition, whether it's under both the Liberal and Conservative governments, by working with government and by advocating strongly for Windsor. Again, I ask for your commitment and continued partnership. We can do more, we can do better, it can be exciting, we have opportunities, but we need to have strong advocacy and the right issues presented at the table to ensure we have a good future.
Thanks so much. Henry Lau.
Thank you all, and also to the people watching the debate at home. There has been powerful words from our candidate, but the powerful words of NDP has not worked for our local issues. Without a seat at the federal table, the NDP cannot help us. The people of Windsor in Canada just experienced 4 years of Trudeau Liberal government. The damage has been done. We must fix the problem now. 17 years of NDP in Windsor at the federal level and 16 years of Liberal in Windsor at the provincial level, yet they still could not help you to get ahead. As a problem solver and a job creator, with your support, I can bring our local issue and requests to Ottawa, get the answer and fix the problem. Windsor deserves better. Windsor needs change. Vote Henry Lau. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sandra Pupatello.
Thanks, everybody, and thanks for listening and being so keen in this election. We have an opportunity for Windsor. We're at a crossroads today where we have a chance to put a voice in government from Windsor, to have a real voice to solutions for this town. And I'm determined to do that. I've lived in this riding my whole life. And I love my community. And I know that in the few years that I've been on the outside looking in, I see what a difference it makes when you don't have a minister to pick up the phone. I was replaced in Windsor West by yet another Liberal cabinet minister in Teresa Pousa, who's here today. She knows what it's like to be able to pick up the phone and find a solution. Windsor deserves that. We don't deserve MPs who want to rip up NAFTA, our very livelihood. And I'm not letting this go. You're not getting off this mat wanting to tear up NAFTA. It's what our community deserves, and that is to be pro-trade. And I want to be that representative here that will bring our voice to Ottawa so our products will get to the world. Thank you.
Please hold your applause. Thank you very much. Quinn Hunt.
The biggest thing that I've heard at the door across the few months that I've been campaigning is that Windsorites and Canadians are ready for change. We have seen that across Canada again on September 27th when people walked out of work, walked out of school to protest the exact parties that are on this stage today with me. Justin Trudeau went to the climate strike in Montreal. Greta Thunberg and other organizers of that strike have stated that they did not want him there. They did not want politicians to co-opt this. The politicians are the ones we are striking. Every single established party in Canada has not done enough on climate and does not plan to do enough. I will admit the NDP plan is good. It would have been great 10 years ago. Today, it's not enough. It will not reach the emissions reductions levels that we need to do to avoid the worst effects of climate change. The only party that has a real plan for today's climate crisis is the Green Party. That's the reason I'm up here today, and that's the reason that I need you to vote for me on October 21st. Please go to our social medias, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, Quinn Hunt for Windsor West.
Thank you so much, and thank you to all the candidates for sharing your views. I'd also quickly like to thank Rakesh Naidu, President of the Windsor-Essex Regional Chamber of Commerce, for putting on the debate. Everybody else at the Chamber, your TV, Media Street, and let's turn it back over one more time to your TV, John Fairley and Chris Vanderdome. Thank you, everybody.
With that, I also want to get an overview of the
I can't.